Another bright new week. 3 more discussion topics selected by you. A whole new conversation. Welcome back to 360 Speedway. Hello and welcome back to 360 HQ. Make yourself comfortable, sit yourself down, settle yourselves in for another fulsome episode of Speedway Chat, and I'm sure, fingers crossed, a few laughs along the way. Another new week, a whole new conversation. Let's dive right in and introduce this week's lineup as we always do. First up, as he was last week, doing plenty of hard yards for 360 Speedway. It's another eye up to Yorkshire grit himself, Nigel Crabtree. Another week, another new conversation. Nigel, welcome back.
Cheers, Derek. You all okay?
Good, thank you. Next up, stepping right back into the 360 hot seat, even back-to-back appearances for our Robbo, Stuart Robson. Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. And completing this week's lineup, he's back, the 360 team member with the highest number of views of any individual Speedway or 360 Speedway YouTube channel video, or in fact that was the case until earlier this morning, Stewart McDonald, because I am now number one. The Is Dan Bewley Scottish video has gone viral in inverted commas and is now the most watched video. I think I'm beating one of yours, Stuart, by about 20 views, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. So collectively, this week's Handlebar Heroes. And as we always like to remember to say, any views and opinions expressed on this episode are absolutely those of ours as individuals and not at all representative of any Speedway clubs, past or former, that we are or were associated to. Always makes me feel so much better to get that out in the open. Okay, let's sit down then and have a bit of a chat. As we've been doing in recent weeks, we're going to continue with kicking off Episode 14 as we're now on with a bit of a sit-down chat with someone from the world of Speedway. We are all collectively hugely honoured to have a sit-down chat with one of the most iconic Speedway stars of his era. Very much a household name in all the far reaches of World Speedway. His racing exploits and achievements continue to impress supporters to this day, very much so courtesy of YouTube. It is an absolute sincere delight to introduce to 360 Speedway, Chris Morton MBE. Good evening to you, Chris Morton.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I don't know if I can live up to that big build-up you've given me, but I'll do my best.
Thank you, Chris. I'm sure you've just been extremely modest. Listen, thanks for making some time to sit down and have a chat with us. You certainly look fit and well, if you don't mind me saying. Is that in any way attributable to all those long bike rides that you like to take yourself out on?
Yeah, something to do with it, but the last one created a bit of a problem for me, but I'm well over that now. But yeah, try and keep fit. It's quite important, I think, to try and maintain a good level of fitness. So makes life a bit easier, certainly when you're getting older.
Absolutely, good to know that you're still on two wheels, Chris, which is what you spend most of your life doing. If you don't mind me asking, Chris, I introduced you and I gave you your full Sunday name with the MBE. You know, even after all these years, do you mind if I ask? Does it take a bit of getting used to, or are you absolutely attuned and accepting of it now?
Yes, I'm accepting on it. I mean, I did work for somebody who said that if he had an MBE, he'd have it tattooed on his head, but not really my style. So I'm quite
for services to Speedway, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, Chris, you're fondly remembered, and like I said in the introduction, I know you'll be too modest to acknowledge it, but you are a name in the world of Speedway, and you're achievements over the years, as hopefully we might touch on, is testament to the name and the reputation that you carved out for yourself. But my next question, Chris, and you were very keen and obliging to agree to come and talk to us tonight, but I hope that suggests, Chris, that you still have an absolute love for the sport of speedway, and you still follow and take some enjoyment from it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I go to Bellevue occasionally, but I follow the GPs. I keep up to speed with the league, but I'm not prolific. I don't know exactly. I have to keep having a look every now and then and see what's going on. So, but I follow the GPs right through. So, yeah, still get a lot of pleasure out of speedway. It's a great sport, as we all know.
Absolutely, and looking in at the modern era and the current rider fraternity, Chris, what can you single out? Could I ask you to single out 2 or 3 riders who you particularly admire and enjoy watching?
Well, I suppose if we don't going back after I finished, I was a big fan of a few different riders, but Jason Crump was pretty prolific, and I did like his style of riding. He was very. I always felt that Jason was hard but fair, and if he wanted to find a way, I'm not sure he'd find it, but he'd do it as clean as he can. Look at someone like Bartosz Zmarzlik, who incredibly rides so what appears to be very hard and certainly fast, but he always seems to manage to do it without unbalancing the riders. He passes them very cleanly. We've also got of the riders that I'm sort of following at the moment. Really, I'm a bit of a Freddie Lindgren fan, and Brady Kurtz just appear that they're near the top. But that's I get a lot of pleasure out of watching them race.
That's interesting. And if it's not too awkward a question to ask you or to answer, Chris, is there anything in the profile, the ability, the style of those riders that you've picked out that in any way reminds you of you and your pomp?
Yeah, occasionally. So I'm making it happen. That's what I think. Quite a few of the riders, they make it happen for themselves, and so it's about, I suppose, remembering there's 4 laps, and you just keep on pushing as hard as you can, and if you're not out in front trying to go as fast as you can, if you're going as fast as you can behind somebody,
I'm going to invite Nigel, actually. Nigel, could I ask you to test out your theory, Nigel, from a couple of episodes ago? We did a feature, Chris, about why some riders are good at gating and other riders aren't, and why over the course of a full career, riders who aren't good at gating didn't get any better. And Nigel, you had a bit of a theory, and if I remember correctly, you might even have exampled Chris in your theory.
Yeah, and I've even spoke to Chris about this a couple of weeks ago, or 3 or 4 weeks ago. I think Chris spent that much time at Bellevue. He was such a master of that track, and I'm right in saying that, even though he's sat there. He's such a master of that track, he knew he didn't have to gate. If he'd have possibly been somewhere else where he would have had to gate it, made the start, I'm sure he would have done. And we did speak about that, if you remember, Chris, a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, I try and leave Bellevue at one point for that reason. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed racing at Bellevue, but there was a period where I thought, if my career is going to, let's say, move on the way I wanted it to, I would need to move to a track where I'd need to gate better. I did apply for a transfer that happened, so I just down and stayed at Bellevue, which I think in the end was the right thing for me, certainly for my career. I used to love riding Bellevue. It was just a dream to ride the place. I'm very fortunate to have spent was 16 years I rode there. I mean, obviously I was watching it as a kid right from 7, so I knew the Bellevue track very well, and I believed during my racing career, having ridden all around the world, that it was the best speedway track in the world. But I was biased, so I mean, other tracks may have a claim on that.
To so many friends through Speedway over the years who were Bellevue fans back in the day, or who were frequent visitors to Hyde Road, and I think they would subscribe to your suggestion that Hyde Road was in fact the best track in the world. Chris, for obvious reasons, you are most firmly associated with all things Bellevue. As you mentioned, a club servant for, I thought it was even 18 years, but you said 16, so who am I to argue? And I realised that we would need a much...
Well, 18 years riding.
Okay.
16 at Bellevue.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I realised we'd need a much longer time with you to interview and gallop through even half of your achievements, etc. But talking about Hyde Road, for those of us who never visited or who barely visited, can I ask you, if it's not too difficult a question, off the top of your mind, what's your sort of keenest memories of Hyde Road, the stadium, the track, the atmosphere?
Keenest memory. There's quite a lot of I mean, some of your memories, they come from the fact that there's a video of it, but getting the track record at Bellevue was quite an important thing for me, because and as it was, it didn't get broken because the track closed down. So I held the record with, because later on, after I beat the track record, then Eric Gunderson equalled it, and so we held the record together, which I think is quite an honour, really, to be holding a track record, and it can't be beaten.
And the actual, the old girl itself, the stadium, the infrastructure around it. I've only seen photographs and a few videos, but it looked like a magnificent venue and a magnificent stage for riders to go and do their stuff on, Chris.
Yeah, it definitely did. It gave, and this is what I tried to do with the National Speedway Stadium. It gave riders freedom to do their thing without being. You could take risks that were, if they were on another track, it'd be something stupid. But Bellevue, Hyde Road, it allowed you to and just think about the races and not have to think about the risks you were taking. So it gave riders freedom, and that was what I was looking for when I designed the National Speedway Stadium. But when I wrote my book, I tried to articulate the fact that I felt that Hyde Road, once you got to know it well enough, it like had a life, that it responded to good races, and it kind of gave back as much as it as you put into it.
That makes complete sense, Chris. What you have undoubtedly a legacy in terms of your on-track exploits, but another legacy that I would like to accredit you with and acknowledge and perhaps have a little bit of a discussion around is your design and construct input to the National Speedway Stadium. It's well chronicled that you had a big hand in fundamentally designing the physicality of the new track in Manchester, and it must, Chris, week on week, month on month, season on season, every supporter to a man and a woman, every rider, the TV companies, the promotions, all pour praise on that racetrack and how consistently it provides fantastic racing, and credit, of course, to Andy Meredith and the track crew at Bellevue for encouraging that. But as I just wanted to ask you though about that design input, and now do you now sit back and have some satisfaction that your effort and your masterminding at that time has lent itself to the quality of the racing that circuit produces regularly.
Yeah, if risk is maybe getting a bit deep, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I've been ridden lots of speedway tracks around the world, and some of the best tracks in the UK. Some good tracks in possibly around Europe and Australia. But I had an interest in why Bellevue was so, why I considered it to be so good. And because when you look at someone like Bradford looks pretty much the same as Bellevue, and that's why because I used to ride Bradford and find it didn't deliver back to me what Hyde Road did, and I was interested in why that. I kind of, while I was riding, I was studying what made tracks work well for speedway riders, and so that over all those years, that's really why the National Stadium is what it is, and it's come from. It's not. I'd like to say it's not by chance that it delivers the racing it delivers. It is absolutely by design, and I'm it almost overwhelms me when I see some of the racing that goes on there, that it's doing exactly what I hoped it would do. And riders, you can see when you've got 3, sometimes 4 guys going halfway through a race, going down the back straight together, and you don't know who's going to do what, and they're all on different lines, and you know that it's probably fairly safe for them to do that. Then the track is delivering what it was designed to do, and it is all in the. It's a 3-dimensional thing, it's to do with the profile of the track, and obviously the size and the shape of it.
It must be super pleasing to you, Chris, and what you've just described is the epitome of speedway, in my opinion. You should, a track should allow 3 or 4 riders to enter bends abreast and have the space and the scope to come out the other side, etc. Stuart Robson, I'm going to invite you in because you've had the great pleasure of racing around that particular circuit, Stuart. Would you like to comment on your own thoughts on it?
Yeah, with that track, I loved riding it. It was great, but the problem the issue I had there was I just didn't have the engine set up. But it was great to go there. You felt safe. You had so much space. There was, you could ride different lines. If there was a good line around the outside, you could go for it. But you could also get to the inside as well and still go just as quick. So it was great to ride, but it made it very difficult to score points there because of how sort of fair it was, I guess, and how easy it was and nice to ride. Everyone really liked it.
Stuart McDonald, you in addition to everyone else have heaped some praise on the National Speedway Stadium, and I know you take in some action there from time to time. Would you like to share your thoughts with one of the designers in terms of the quality of the product there?
Well, first of all, Chris, obviously congratulations for the design. I mean, the racing on it is without doubt. I think we've spoke about it every week. It's the best racetrack on the planet, and I'll say this to the day I die. Could you ever get a better racetrack? It's so fair, and it's like Rob was saying. There's so many lines.
Yeah, I don't know what you do.
There's so many lines. I've never had the pleasure as yet, but I think I might get it quite soon to maybe have a wee shot of it. But no, definitely, without doubt, phenomenal track. I wish I was still racing. I really do. I remember even riding the older Bellevue track from Curtin and Hume Lane. I never had the pleasure of Hyde Road because of my age, but it's probably the only track on the planet now that you think I'd love to just have a shot. And I watched some videos of Gary O'Hare going round there. And you look at the age of Gary now, thinking he can go around there at the age of 75, 76. I'm only kidding. And you never know. Maybe a wee 360 reunion on track, Nige. What do you think, Robbo?
That sounds good to me.
Well, we did take some cameras along for that occasion. Chris, more recently, Chris,
match race,
you made a match race. You mentioned to me, Chris, that you had been at the NSS for the recent back-to-back Grand Prix, and that must have been manna from heaven for you to see that that big stage occasion in front of really healthy crowds with the world's best riders competing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you get, I always felt that because we'd seen glimpses of what could happen there with some of the World Cup and some of the other international meetings. But I always felt when if we got a Grand Prix there, then we would some spectacular speedway, and it didn't fail to deliver, and it was quite incredible what some of the riders were doing. Let's not keep it all on the track. I mean, it's all right giving them the freedom, but we've got to be brave enough to go out and do it. You know, and in what you always get on tracks like this, where the dirt goes wider, there's this point in the end where are you brave enough to ride almost on the airbag, you know, which is what some of them were doing. Which, yeah, there was some incredible racing.
What's just Morton's views on the Grand Prix series, and how much would you have enjoyed participating in a whole Grand Prix season, Chris?
Yeah, I love the Grand Prix series. I mean, both I suppose systems have the good and the bad with them, but I do like the current Grand Prix series. It's a modern speedway, so we've got to accept it. Some people don't like it, but it's what it is. But it does mean that it's about consistency, and it still doesn't change. You've got to be the best. You've got to beat the best, and we've seen that with with Bartos that he's the boy to beat, and he's got to be beaten. What I mean is, and so Brady Kurtz is on his coattails. We'll see what happens with that. We're seeing some great racing, and we've got another one. Dan Bewley is a fantastic racer, and he may well start sneaking up a bit. If he gets just wants a bit more consistency, I think we'll see him get another whistle.
An interesting finale to this year's series. Chris, I did say already I could talk to you all night and fire many more questions at you. I'll ask you one more if you don't mind, and thank you for being here again. My final question is, you know the sport inside out. You know many of the personalities and the capabilities of individuals involved in the sport in this country. Do you have any concerns for its future? Or is there anything you could put your finger on that you would like to see brought back or introduced to the sport to try and bolster its appeal to supporters?
That's a tough question to throw at me, isn't it? I mean, at the top end of the sport, we're watching Grand Prix. You've got Great Speedway in Poland is very healthy. Speedway in the UK has slipped back a bit. I don't know what the answer is. There's cleverer people than me that are trying to come up with making British Speedway better than it is. But it's about getting more people interested. But there's so many things that people can do these days, and that's what you've got to be able beat that other sport that other people want to go and see. So no, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer, but I suppose that's one thing that maybe. I mean, things were great when we had the grass racing, which and I spoke to Nigel about the grass track racing coming back, which means that we get more riders coming through. Because it's about numbers in the end. You got to the real talent may go into other sports, So, but it's for any kid wanting to have a go at racing, Speedway is a good sport, isn't it?
It is, Chris. It is. Listen, I echo everything you've just said, and to your point, without a conveyor belt of talent and a continuous one, then that's obviously got to be in place to feed the future of the sport, and obviously off track as well. The sport, its profile, its appeal has got to reach out to more people than perhaps it currently does. But Chris, once again, let us thank you for making time to speak to us. It's been our great pleasure. I'm sure everyone who's watching this out in 360 Speedway land will have enjoyed hearing from you and seeing you. And please let's not be a stranger. Perhaps we can bring you back on 360 Speedway in future weeks or months.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to come on sometime. That's fine. Yeah. So have a good night.
Thank you very much.
See you, Chris.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Chris.
See you, Nigel.